in our situation, there was some practical benefits too. In that regard of being a family unit, as our kids were entering school age, we lived in the country of Hungary in the city of Budapest. But number one, the entire school system was in Hungarian. And so our kids, we did bring in, a tutor to help them learn Hungarian, but looking towards their future, having our schooling based in English instead of Hungarian made it possible for us to do it that way. Being able to have it on a track towards the type of topics that we really felt valued, not only having a Christian focus to it, but also being able to have an American history that they wouldn't get in the Hungarian schools. And then also just our schedule. In our schedule, our situation with the type of calling vocation that we had, about 1 out of every 4 years, we'd be back in the United States. And so that just allowed us to be able to have the flexibility to pick up our family, go wherever we were, and not have that interruption in our schooling system. So there was a practical flexibility to it. But I think really for me at the core was that having family as a very core of how we operated. We didn't go off. I remember I graduated from Aurora High School, and my mom's a retired public school teacher. It had really good experiences there. It wasn't an anti-school choice. It was just really, in one sense, thought. I remember that I'd drive into school with my sister that was 2 years older than me, and then I wouldn't see her again until if I go home for supper. Same thing with my younger brother. I remember after graduating high school, one summer I was back doing work, and I remember there was a guy that was about 4 or 5 years younger than me in my church, and the thought resonated to me, kind of, wow, he's a great guy. I've known him all of his life because both of our families were in the same church, but just realized he's a couple grades different than me. And so I said, I didn't end up living in Aurora for my life, but the thought came, he's the guy that I probably, if both of us lived in Aurora, he would be a lifelong friend. But we were just a couple grades separate. So we, in our high school years, we never did anything together. We were always segmented by grades. And I just liked that idea of being able to not only to have that family reference point, our schedules are operating from a family first, but then also the next frame of reference isn't, okay, are they my same exact grade, age, but rather it's, how does that person, do I have a connection? Do we have something in common that would extend even beyond just these segmented references of schooling? So homeschooling meshed well with not only practical things, but also it just felt like this matches life in a very real way that will equip my kids going forward.